I have had this for a bit now, and a few people asked me about it, so here is my take. This is an above-ground backyard pool set that is meant for people who want something bigger than a little inflatable pool, but who do not want to do a permanent install. If you have kids who need a place to burn energy, or you just want somewhere to sit in cold water after a hot day, this size makes sense. It is large enough that more than one person can actually move around without constantly bumping into each other, and it is tall enough that the water feels like a real pool instead of a shallow splash pad. What made me pick this one was pretty simple. I wanted a frame pool that could stay up for a season without me worrying every day about seams stretching, the wall bowing out, or the legs slowly sinking into the yard. I also wanted something I could take down later without feeling like it was a whole construction project. In person, it looks like a standard round frame pool, but it feels more substantial than the cheaper soft wall pools I have used in the past. The liner material is thick enough that it does not feel like a trash bag with water in it. When you press on it, it has some stiffness, and it does not feel brittle. The printed exterior has held up better than I expected for something that sits outside in full sun. I have a couple of scuffs from normal use, like people brushing by with sandals or kids being kids, but the material has not started flaking or cracking. The frame is a big part of whether these pools are worth owning, and this one has been solid for me. The metal poles do the job they are supposed to do, which is keep the wall supported when the water is pushing outward. The poles have a coating that seems to resist rust pretty well. Mine has been exposed to sun, water, and the normal mess that comes with a backyard, and I am not seeing serious corrosion. I do make a point to keep the connection points clean when I take it down, because that is usually where rust starts on anything metal. Setup was very doable, but I want to be honest about what makes setup go smoothly. The most important part is the ground. If the ground is not level, you are going to see it right away when the pool fills. One side ends up higher, the waterline looks crooked, and it puts extra stress on the frame. I took my time getting a flat spot. I put a tarp underneath, partly to protect the bottom from small rocks, and partly because it makes cleanup easier when you take the pool down. With 2 adults, the assembly itself is not hard, but it does take patience. You are feeding poles through sleeves, lining up joints, and making sure the legs are seated the right way. The last bit, when the liner is still wrinkled and the frame is not fully settled, can feel awkward. Once you start filling it, the liner stretches out and everything finds its shape. Day-to-day use is straightforward. Once it is filled, it basically behaves like a simple backyard pool should. The wall stays upright, the frame does not wobble, and it handles normal splashing without feeling like it is going to shift. The size is the main reason it gets used at my place. There is enough room for kids to play without immediately turning it into a wrestling match, and there is enough space for adults to float and cool off without feeling cramped. The 42-inch height matters more than I expected, because it gives you water depth that feels more relaxing. You can sit on the edge inside the pool and still feel like you are in the water, not just sitting in a puddle. The included pump and filter setup is something you will rely on, and it is not something I would ignore. In real use, it keeps the water from getting stale as long as you run it regularly and you do basic maintenance. Water gets pulled from the pool through the intake, passes through the filter, and returns back into the pool. It is not silent, but it is not obnoxious either. It is the kind of background hum you stop noticing after a while. The biggest limitation is that you still have to do your part. If you have a windy yard, trees nearby, or a lot of sunscreen and body oils getting into the water, the filter alone will not magically keep everything perfect. I still skim the surface, I still clean out debris, and I still keep an eye on water balance. If you skip that, you will be fighting cloudy water no matter what pool you buy. One practical thing I appreciate is draining. When it is time to empty the pool, the drain valve makes it easier to control where the water goes. I attach a garden hose and run it away from the house and away from anything that would turn into a muddy mess. Draining still takes time because there is a lot of water, but at least it is not just flooding your yard right next to the pool. I have used this pool through hot weather and strong sun, and that is where I think the materials matter. Some pools start to feel tired fast. The liner starts to feel thinner, or the color looks washed out, or you notice small stress spots where the wall meets the frame. With this one, I am not seeing that kind of rapid wear. I do have minor marks from real-life use, and I have had moments where a toy scraped along the side and made me cringe, but it has not turned into a tear. I still treat it like something that can be punctured, because it can, but it has been tougher than the inflatable and thin vinyl pools I have owned before. Now for a couple of real criticisms. The setup is not hard, but it is annoying if you try to rush it, and it is way more annoying if you do it alone. Managing the liner and keeping the frame aligned is easier with help. Another thing is that the pool really wants a clean, level base. If you are trying to put it on uneven ground and just hope the water will sort it out, it will not. The water will show you every mistake. Also, the pump does require you to keep up with filter changes and basic cleaning. If you are the type of person who wants zero maintenance, an above-ground pool like this is not that. It is manageable, but it is still work. There is also no mobile app here, and there are no smart features to talk about. Honestly, I am fine with that. For a pool, I would rather have simple parts that I can see and maintain myself than an app that tells me my water is dirty. What matters more is how consistent you are with running the pump, keeping debris out, and checking the water. So overall, my impression is that this is a practical above-ground pool that feels sturdy when it is set up correctly. It works well for families. It works well for people who want a place to cool off without committing to an installed pool. And it holds up to normal backyard use as long as you handle the basics. The strengths are the size, the stability of the frame, and the liner feeling like it can take real use. The limitations are the need for a level surface, the time it takes to set up and drain, and the fact that you still need to do regular maintenance to keep the water clean. If you have questions about my setup, maintenance routine, or anything you want me to test with it, leave a comment. If this video helped, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.